Hello, guys and gals, and welcome to another episode of Unique Items. Today we're going to be looking at a belt, a very specific belt that is kind of just really focused around mana. It really doesn't have any other purpose in life other than just to give you mana, to help you restore your mana, to do mana things with your mana. It is called Gloom's Trap. Gloom's Trap has 102 defense. It is level 36 requirements, so relatively low. It has a strength requirement of 53, which is also relatively low. And it has 5% mana steal, which is static. It has 120 to 150% enhanced defense, which is, a variable of, 30%. We also have 15 to vitality on this belt, which is a nice little bump in HP. And then we have increases maximum mana by 15%. Regenerate mana, 15%, and a -3 to light radius. So basically, when you put this belt on, it is with the sole idea and understanding that you are trying to make your mana pool not go away. You've got mana steal to restore your mana. You've got mana regeneration to cause your mana to regenerate faster. You have increased to your maximum mana, which also helps your mana regeneration go quicker. And all of this adds up to a belt which is going to help you immensely keep your mana pool full. Now, who would I potentially use this kind of belt on? Well, basically any character that has huge mana issues. If I was a freezing arrow Amazon or an exploding arrow Amazon and I had tons of mana problems, this would probably be a good belt. If I was a vengeance paladin who had tons of mana problems, this could be a pretty decent belt. Even if I was like a bear sorceress or something, this might be a pretty decent belt, just simply to restore tons and tons of mana. Of course, they don't tend to have mana issues. Now, if your character has mana issues, it's a great belt for you. If your character doesn't have mana issues, it's not a great belt for you. I do feel like they kind of missed the boat here. They probably should have put on damage taken goes to mana as well. If their entire purpose of this was to be like the god tier mana belt, I feel like damage taken goes to mana certainly would have been a nice addition. You can utilize this on a spellcaster, obviously, to get the increase to maximum mana and the regenerate mana. The 5% mana steal won't be useful to you, but you still will get a pretty huge bump to your mana pool. Right now I have 279 mana, and when I put this belt on, you will see that I go from 269 to 299. Now, the higher your mana is, the more mana you get. And the way that mana regeneration works is that the more mana you have, the faster you regenerate mana. So having something like this on a sorceress to increase your maximum mana will also inadvertently increase your mana regeneration rate as well. And it gives you a little bit of regeneration rate on top of that to stack on top of your warmth. You could also potentially utilize this on a necromancer who's having issues with mana. You could utilize this on a summon druid or an elemental druid who's having issues with mana. Whatever issues you've got with mana, this will probably fix it for a short period of time. Is this probably the belt that you want to utilize for the rest of your career as a Diablo character? Probably not. But it is a belt that you can have handy. It's relatively small. You can fit it in your inventory and hold it there. And at any time, if you're playing a character and you just feel like you're just not getting enough mana, you don't have enough mana steal, you don't have enough mana, you don't have enough mana regeneration, well, there you go. This is your belt. This belt can also be upgraded to the highest tier. It is a nightmare level belt, which means you are going to need a Lem rune and you're going to need a Co rune to upgrade this, and you're also going to need a perfect diamond. Now, it already does have max belt slots, so that's really not what we're upgrading it for. We're really just upgrading it for the defense. So we're going to go from 102 defense, strength requirement of 58, and a level of 36, to 155 defense, 106 strength requirement, level 63. It's not really a bad upgrade. Not really bad at all. I could definitely see doing that and just holding it in my inventory, for other characters who might necessarily need it, especially since the 5% mana steal really kind of helps out all characters, and having a good bit of defense on a belt like this is certainly not going to be bad. I think, quite honestly, this belt fills the niche that it was designed for quite well. Is it a niche that you specifically need? The answer is no. The problem is that when you build a character, you usually solve your mana problems in some way. Whether you're using an Insight Polearm, whether you build your mana high enough so that you have a natural regeneration with your warmth, whether you build tons of +2 mana after each kill so that every time you kill something your mana is constantly regenerating, or maybe you're using a Phoenix Shield with Redemption, or you're a Paladin with Redemption, or maybe you're a Summon Druid who's utilizing the mana regeneration Vine. There are lots and lots of different ways that you can solve your mana issues, and this is probably not one of them. This is more of like a stopgap measure. It's a belt that you hold on to, you use when you need it to solve your mana issues for a short period of time, and then eventually when you become a, full-grown adult, so to speak, and you've leveled up your character to as high as he can possibly be, you find other ways to solve your mana issues besides this belt. And that's really all there is to it with this belt. And I'm afraid a lot of these videos are going to be kind of short because some of these items, they really don't have a lot to talk about. When you're looking at items like this that have a very specific purpose, you know exactly what characters it will be good on, and you know what characters it's not going to be good on. Characters that don't have issues with mana, characters that don't burn mana on a regular basis, like maybe you're a Sacrifice Paladin, you don't need this belt. You don't need Mana Steal. You don't need increase to maximum mana. You don't need mana regeneration. It's not going to be for you. If you're a character that is burning mana on a regular basis and you feel like you always have mana issues, then this belt could very well be for you. And the relatively low level at level 36 is absolutely great, because when you find this Gloomstrap belt, you keep it in your inventory, and you can utilize it on every character as you level up that needs that increase to mana, regeneration, and the Mana Steal. And as you outgrow the belt, you take it off, put it back in your stash, and you hold on to it until the next character needs it. Now, let's go take a look at Silo's Pen real quick, and we'll have a look and see where you could potentially find this belt if you were looking for it. Because as a stopgap measure, it is actually a very excellent one, and I think a lot of people will agree that if you're looking for a Gloomstrap belt, you probably are really suffering from some mana issues. So let's pull up the Gloomstrap belt. There it is. And we're going to look at bosses first, and we're going to pretend we have 150% Magic Find, which is fairly understandable, and players 1. And so here we have some quest monsters. We're going to ignore those, and we're going to go down to the non-quest kills. So Mephisto in Nightmare difficulty has a 1 in 1,240 chance. That is excellent. So you're probably going to get one off of him if you farm Mephisto in Nightmare for a little while. Diablo in Nightmare and Baal in Nightmare also have fairly good chances, and Dariel in Hell difficulty also a fairly good chance. Let's take a look at super uniques. And it looks like the Cow King in Hell has a 1 in 4,400. And Neelathak in Nightmare is 1 in 9,740. So I am noticing a bit of a interesting thing here, which is that we really don't have a lot of normal difficulty monsters or bosses. Let me do a quick look under bosses for normal difficulty. No results. And the super uniques under normal difficulty? No results. So it looks like at the bare minimum you're going to have to be in Nightmare to find this item. And that means that you're going to have to go up against things like Andariel in Nightmare difficulty and whatnot to locate this belt. And that is a little bit of a sad thing, because with the belt having such a low level requirement, it didn't really seem like that was the case. But it does look like you're pretty much restricted to Nightmare difficulty if you're looking for this particular item. There's not a lot of monsters. Actually, there's no monsters at all in normal difficulty that will drop this belt, and most of the monsters in Nightmare tend to be in some of the higher level zones. The bosses obviously can still drop the item. Let's take a look at the super uniques real quick in Nightmare. So we're looking at Neelathak, Radamet, Cow King. Eldritch in Nightmare can drop it. That would be a good farming choice. That is in Act 5 though in Nightmare, so by then you're leaving Nightmare difficulty. Shank the Overseer also. Not a lot of monsters in the lower zones. I'm really trying to find one that's like Act 1, Act 2. Something that's easy to farm, Bone Ash in the Cathedral. But that's a pretty high chance at 1 in 21,970. Not the greatest options here. Yeah, it looks like this belt really has kind of an odd spawn zone. I'm not really sure what to think about it because it seems to be mainly the end of Nightmare difficulty, beginning of Hell, and, you know, obviously all of Hell. So the beginning of Nightmare difficulty doesn't even really have a lot of monsters in there that you can farm. It looks like you would be better to farm Eldritch and Shank over and over again in Nightmare difficulty than anything. Well, anyway, as always, I do appreciate you guys watching my videos, even when it's a trap. And as always, keep watching.